In today's era of luxurious habits, the squat with bowel movements is referred to as old-fashioned and uncomfortable position. However, according to the latest research, the sitting position while sitting on the toilet is responsible for numerous diseases of our time. The Israeli newspaper Journal of Medical Science has published a study that is about the sitting position with bowel movements to blame for the high rate of morbidity from hemorrhoids, inflammatory bowel disease, colon cancer and Crohn's disease. Israeli doctor, Dov Zakharov, conducted a research on the diseases of the digestive system and the benefits of squatting, which included 28 healthy adult volunteers, arranged in 3 separated toilets. In the first, volunteers used the toilet's standard height of 41 centimeters, the second was flown at a height of 31 centimeters, and in the third, volunteers relieved themselves in the privy. Using a digital timer they recorded the time required to fully discharge the intestines. Zakharov discovered that the volunteers crouching needed only 51 seconds, as opposed to those who have used a standard toilet and finished in 130 seconds. It was found, also, that the seat improves the appearance of hemorrhoids, which occur due to inflamed veins of the lower part of the large intestine and anus. They arise, inter alia, as a consequence of stresses during emptying the bowel. Also, the remaining contents in the intestine favor the development of infection, which can lead to inflammation and cancer of the intestine. Crohn's syndrome is a chronic autoimmune inflammatory bowel disease in which the immune system attacks the body's own digestive system. It belongs to the group of IBD, inflammatory bowel diseases. Australian researcher Wallace Bovels found that there is a relationship of human health and the bowel movement. It has been shown that intestinal inflammatory conditions respond positively to bowel movements in a squatting position. People with Crohn's disease have confirmed the significant improvement after several weeks, and eventually disappeared all symptoms of this disease, wrote Wallace Bovels. Just like for bowel movements, squatting is the best position for the complete emptying of the bladder. Women's urine flow is stronger and lighter when they urinate in a squatting position. In a sitting position the bladder is never completely empty, and urinary retention can lead to multiplication of bacteria or infection of the urinary tract. The evidence is in favor of the old-fashioned positions and those people who are more in touch with the natural way of life. Those who choose crouching stance than the usual sitting on the toilet seat suffer much less from bowel disease. The fecal matter that remains in our intestines may be the beginning of major problems, causes accumulation of toxins and makes the rectum narrower. Our body is not designed for prolonged exposure to the substances that should be thrown out. Necessity is full of toxins that can cause malignant changes in the walls of the colon. It is assumed that 80% of all cancers of the colon are because of the position, because the bladder cannot be completely emptied in a sitting position. Benefits of the squatting position. Jonathan Isbett, who has launched a special chair for squatting, wrote an elaborate article on the topic of health benefits from a seated position. It represents the 7 most important advantages of a crouching attitude. Faster, easier and complete elimination. Remember that, if all is well, you should not spend more than a couple of minutes using the toilet. Protection of the nerves that control the bladder, prostate and uterus, so that it does not stretch or damage. Support the valve, which closes the small intestine and prevents contamination during cleansing. If you sit, the valve cannot do its job properly, which can result in returning the fecal matter back into the small intestine. Relaxation of the pubrectal muscle, so the bladder can be emptied. If you are in a squatting position, using your thighs and effort will be much smaller. The stress can cause a number of disorders of the gut, thigh muscle strain and a good exercise. Pregnant women can benefit from a crouching position to prepare for a natural birth. Also, this position creates less pressure on the uterus. According to recent studies, the position affects the prevention of hemorrhoids. Conditions related to the sitting position. Health problems that may stem from inadequate use of toilets in a sitting position include some of the following problems. Constipation. hemorrhoids, colitis, inflammation of the colon, colon cancer, Crohn's disease, a type of inflammatory bowel disease, incontinence, diverticulitis, forming a pouch in the wall of the colon and subsequent inflammation of one of these pouches, prostate disorders, hernia in the abdomen, stomach acid flowing back into the esophagus, sexual dysfunction. It is interesting to note that countries that are not Western and where the squat is still practiced have a much lower incidence of these problems. Squat and hemorrhoids. Research shows that stress is one of the factors that contribute to the development of hemorrhoids. The Israeli study conducted by Dr. Berko Sakari shows that the hemorrhoids are successfully cured simply by adopting different positions in the toilet. When patients are transferred from a seated position in the squat, the problems were eliminated because they did not have the need for so much stress. Natural remedy for constipation. Constipation and hemorrhoids are often linked, and people who have hemorrhoids often suffer from chronic constipation. Squat can help with constipation. The muscles are relaxed, while the valve remains sealed. This creates pressure in the colon, which works as a natural laxative. When you are in a squatting position, gravity does most of the work for you. For both of the above conditions of the bowel movement, it is important to consume enough dietary fiber, regularly drink plenty of water and exercise.